Hey everyone! In today's video, I am showing you how I took thrift store pots and turned them into beautiful aged pots with tons of charm and patina. I have 3 different methods to share with you, as well as a few extra fun projects. Let's go ahead and get started. I always love a DIY project that doesn't have too many steps or requires too many materials, which is why I love this first method for aging pots. All I used for this project were some thrifted terracotta pots, white paint, which was just a paint sample that I had, and some baking soda. I mixed the paint and the baking soda together. To apply the mixture, I used a stiff circular brush and just dabbed the paint on. I let just a little bit of the terracotta peek through underneath. At the very end, I let everything dry and then I added a layer of Mod Podge to seal it all, and that was it. I will be sharing some styling ideas for all of these methods, so make sure you stick around. The next technique is another simple method that does not require too many materials. I painted the entire pot with chalk paint in the color Milk Jug. I applied 2 coats of this and then let it dry completely. I then went in with my dark wax and wax brush. I recommend wiping your brush on a paper towel before applying it to the pot to ensure it doesn't go on too heavy. I made the dark color slightly heavier on the bottom and the edges of the pot. I thought it would be fun to work on a new style for my fireplace using some of these aged pots and incorporate some of the vintage European pots I shared in my last video. I love the look of flower pots styled and grouped together, some empty and some with greenery. This could be a beautiful look for spring, and you could also take it into summer. I love how the earth tones of the pots pop against the white fireplace mantle. One thing you will find here on my channel is a mix of ideas and approaches to decorating. My simple and affordable DIY projects are mixed in with my new and vintage decor. This helps to give my home a collected and curated look. This approach also helps you to create a home that is unique and has personality. This third technique for aging pots is still very simple, but it has a few more steps and materials. Here is a list of the materials that you will need for this technique. I first painted the pot a dark color. I used a mix of 2 different paint samples. One was a gray-green color, and then I mixed in a hint of a dark brown. I added a good bit of baking soda to the mixture. I painted the whole pot with this color mixture. After the dark color was completely dry, I went in with my stiff circular brush and chalk paint in the color Milk Jug, using the dabbing motion again to apply the paint, and I let some of that dark color show underneath. Once dry, I used some coffee straight out of the coffee pod from my morning coffee and applied it to the pot to give it some extra patina and to look as if it had been sitting outside for a while. I brushed off any of the excess grounds and then I sealed the whole pot with Mod Podge. actually created a second version of this pot, but I wanted to add just a little bit of charm to it with a scallop detail. All I did was use Canva to create a scallop border, and I printed this out, and I'm going to be using this as my stencil on the clay. After I cut out the stencil, I just held it up to the pot and made sure I liked the sizing of it. I am using air dry clay to create the scallops for the pot. What I did first was add just a little bit of water to the clay to make it a little bit more pliable and easy to work with. I borrowed my daughter's Play-Doh rolling pin. It was the perfect size to roll the clay out to a thin layer. You want it thin, but not too thin. Otherwise, it will break when you go to use your knife to cut out the scallops. I just used a clay sculpting knife to cut mine out and then applied a little bit of E6000 glue to the back. I then adhered them all to the pot, working in small sections. I let everything dry for 48 hours and then used the same painting technique with the dark color as the base and adding the white on top. I added some patina to the pot by using the ground coffee. After you apply the coffee at the end, before you seal it, you will want to use a small brush to get rid of any stray coffee grounds in between the scallops and the pot. There are numerous ways that you could style small aged pots like these. The one with the scallop detail is perfect to add to a small side table for a pop of green and to add a bit of character. Both of these pots are the perfect size to pair together on a kitchen counter. If you are new to my channel, I enjoy sharing simple, easy, and affordable decorating as well as DIY projects to create that cozy, collected, cottage-style home. If you love thrifting, cozy spaces, and decorating tips that are easy and attainable, I hope you will subscribe and join me for more videos. Next up, I have some thrifted pots, but this time we are going to use a decoupage technique with Mod Podge and paper napkins. First, I painted the whole pot white as well as the inside of the pot to the soil level, or about an inch or so down from the top. I picked up some paper napkins at HomeGoods, but you could really use any that you might have on hand if they are a pattern that you like. You only want to use the top layer of the napkin, so you'll need to separate the two pieces before you begin the project. I then cut out small sections of the napkins, removing as much of the background space as I could. I used a little bit of Mod Podge to adhere the flower and then cover the rest of it with more. You will want to use a soft brush for this, as the napkins are very delicate. I just continued the process until I liked how everything looked. I gave the whole pot a final coat of Mod Podge once all of the flowers were placed. The wrinkles are hard to contend with, but they didn't really bother me. I liked the added texture and aged appearance they added to the overall look. You all know how much I love my floral patterns. I think they add charm, color, and interest to a space. These pots are perfect for shelf styling or adding to a hutch. I loved them styled together or separately. These pattern pots are the perfect size for a coffee table grouping. I am using both of them in this styling and adding one of my DIY glass cloches with some more of those European pots. I just want to say too, when you are at home DIYing and things aren't really going as planned, don't get too discouraged. I have had so many DIY projects that have not gone the way that I envisioned in my head, and I kind of just had to pivot and figure out how I was going to fix the project, or sometimes I had to start all over again, and it's a lot of trial and error, and there are many times where I have to tweak things as I go along. My daughter Elsie is helping me with this last project. She absolutely loves when I get the air dry clay out, and she enjoys making her own little creations. I have always enjoyed the arts, drawing, painting, and pottery. I find air dry clay to be an easy medium to work with, and I am using it here to make some little pinch dishes. I rolled the clay out and then used some Play-Doh cutters with a scallop edge to cut out my shape for the dishes. To help me form the dishes, I used a small glass bowl to get a basic shape, and then just continue to work around pinching the clay and forming the dish. I used a little bit of water with my fingers to smooth it all out after I got the shape that I wanted. I added some dried flowers while the clay was still wet and pressed them into the bottom of the dish. I let everything dry for 48 hours and then added a Mod Podge clear coat. These dishes are perfect for setting by the sink to hold your jewelry while you are washing dishes. They would also be great for the same purpose on a nightstand or bathroom counter. In this week's Cozy Chats, I wanted to recognize Brenda Jones. Brenda, I want to thank you for all of your support that you show me here on YouTube and also over on Instagram as well. It has been a joy getting to know you, and it brings me so much happiness to hear about all your decorating adventures in your own home. Thank you for being here, and thank you to all of you who tune into my videos every week. I hope you enjoyed this video and you got some inspiration for your home. DIYs don't have to be complicated, they can be simple and still beautiful. In next week's video, we will be decorating and organizing my office and creative space. I am looking forward to sharing all of my tips and tricks for keeping things budget friendly. I will see you all on Sunday.